Good day, everyone. Today's content is tied to capitalism in USA. We have dealt with communism in Russia. We spoke about Lenin, Stalin. We spoke about LFP. We spoke about war communism. We spoke about the 5-year plans. And we spoke about the very fact that that is tied to communism in Russia. Now we need to come to this part which is tied to capitalism in the United States of. And when it comes to United States of America, it's where we are basically going to be dealing with this ideology that is known as capitalism. And when it comes to capitalism, like we did say on that day where we were supposed to start that, capitalism is not just going to happen. It starts from something, and that something that we talk of which happened in the year 1750 is what is known as the Industrial Revolution. When you speak of the Industrial Revolution, it's where now people are going to start realizing that in an economy, people can own businesses. In an economy, businesses can expand. In an economy, companies can be opened, and those companies can expand. And then people start looking at this and therefore saying, oh, maybe I also can open a business. And that is therefore going to be a very fundamental thing in the existence of this ideology that is known as capitalism. Because capitalism is therefore going to speak much on owning. This aspect of owning is also tied to the aspect of owning things privately. We did say that under communism is wherein people are going to share, right? There's equality. There are no classes. It's a classless society. When it comes to capitalism, it is the inverse of that. And one thing that we need to highlight as a main point is capitalism is the mother of communism. Because without capitalism, there is no. When Karl Marx came up with the idea of communism, it is when he was looking at it, and he therefore said, this is not a society I would like to see continuing any further. The idea that I have, or the society that I so much as feel would be ideal, it is a society that would be using something that is totally different and in the opposite direction of that which is used by capitalism. And that's where in now we speak about the writings of Karl Marx. And the writings of Karl Marx are that which encapsulate the ideas that eventually come to be known as communism. Here's one. So this is where now we are going to talk about the very fact that America is therefore a country that is the point of origin for this ideology that is known as communism. Capitalism. Yes, thank you. So in this instance, when you speak of capitalism, we best define it as it is an economic system in which private individuals or businesses own the capital goods. The production of goods and services is based on supply and demand on the general market or in the general market. It is also known as a market economy. It's not just a market economy, but it is a free market economy. And in this instance, when we speak of capitalism, here's one thing about capitalism that we need to familiarize ourselves with. It is one of those key concepts that allow us to own things privately. When I own this thing privately, if it's a company that maybe deals with selling food, which I don't. If this company maybe sells food, which I don't. It's where now this company is therefore going to decide on the prices of the food it sells. And say for example, this company is supplying half of the nation. The prices are going to be set by the owner of the company based on the profit margins that they want to achieve. If I say I want to sell my plates for 100 rand, the government cannot come and tell me that no, the prices are high, drop them. Because like we said, this is not just a market economy, it is known as a free market economy. How then do we best define free market economy or a free market? When you speak of a free market, it's when you are talking about an economic system that is based on buying and selling of goods without the interference from the government. Which means in a private sector, under capitalism, it's where we speak more about what is known as the private sector. And when you speak of our private sector, prime examples that come to mind, it's your Pick and Pays, your Woolworths, your these retailers that we mainly buy from. They are private sectors. Although they are public retailers, but they are private sectors in terms of ownership. This is one. So when it comes to this free market economy, it is more so tied in the general sense of what we just said. If I own the company, I set the prices as best as where I want the profit margins to mainly take me. If I want to achieve a profit of, say, 60% from what I'm selling, I am free to do so because it is a free market economy. The government cannot come and dictate prices. The only people that form part of the dictation of prices, it is people that are part of the industry. If retailers come together and say, hey, listen, we want to set the price of eggs to 60 rand, but it will range. I can sell mine for 50, you can sell yours for 60. That means they only do it as people that are part of the industry. The government cannot come inside and start telling them that no, your prices are too expensive. Why don't you make them 20 rand? They are the ones that are discussing as part of the sector, which is the private sector. This is why. And then comes this very part where we are therefore going to talk about the very fact that capitalism, it is an economic system that therefore relies more on human emotions. It plays with human emotions. One thing that we are going to tell you is, if under this particular society that they just have, you want to become rich, there are means and ways. And for them to do that, they are going to use a whole lot of advertising. That just as we are going to realize when we start talking about this thing that is known as capitalism in the United States of America. Because there's going to be a president. And the president that we are going to talk often about is going to be Kevin Coolidge before the president that will be known as Herbert Hoover. They are going to be one that are talking about that which is known as the American dream of individual possibilities. Because America is a country that was mainly poor initially. It therefore became rich after the economic boom of the 1920s. And when we speak of the economic boom of the 1920s, it happens because of something that is referred to as World War. When America was not fighting in World War I, it was definitely selling weapons to the people that were fighting in. And we know that when you speak of a world war, it's not a war between me and my neighbor. Instead, it is a war that involves me, my neighbor, the nation, and everybody else, right? Which means it's most likely 4, 5, 6 nations that are going to find themselves in that gridlock of that war. And in this instance, when we speak of the United States, it is one that is going to make money by selling weapons to the people that are fighting in World War I until they eventually join. But that will not hamper them. Because in this instance, when it comes to World War I, it is therefore that particular aspect that gives America a chance of making money and therefore advancing economically. Because one thing that you need to know, when we fight a war, are you therefore going to remain the same even after the war? No. Economically, are you going to be very fine, very strong? The country that will remain strong is the one that was selling weapons. Because the other countries and their economies, they are disrupted by this very war. So America being a country that deals with capitalism, it is going to lend countries money. When it lends countries money, it's unlike borrowing your friend money. This one is going to have interest. And it is not money that you can pay back in a day. It is money that will require you to think long and hard as to say, how are you going to pay it back? Because when you borrow from America, you are not just going to come and say, hey, borrow me 50 million. 50 million is not going to help you boost your economy again. You are going to need more than 50 million, which means you are going to need investment in its entirety. And when it comes to investment in its entirety, America is going to make money. And when America is making money, the country itself is going to be developing, right? And when it is developing because it is making money, industries are going to be built, factories are going to be built, more industries are going to open up in terms of expansion and many other things. When you speak of expansion, it therefore talks about employment. When there are new factories that are built, people are going to be employed. Prime example, you just have a new mall that is opened by for people that are familiar with the junction. People from the nearby places have been employed because of that. Now I want you to imagine a scenario where we are opening 10 of those a month. People are going to be employed in large numbers, right? And such was the case in the United States of America. Such that the president started having this arrogance and that's thinking that, oh, America is making money and America is rich. Which means it is going to be able to keep making people employed. It is going to continuously be able to build industries. Infrastructure is going to develop. It is going to modernize. Everything is going to industrialize, basically. And that's where they start talking about what is known as the American dream of individual possibilities. Wherein they are saying, in America, you can open a business and become rich. All you need is to come to America. And that's when now people start having this idea that if I can go to America, if I can just America, America. That's one thing that people mainly want to have, and that is tied to that which will now be known as the American dream of individual possibilities. And they are not just going to end it on that particular aspect of promoting America in the sense of anyone can become rich. They are also going to enforce it through advertising. Are we together? America is going to be one of the countries that can best be seen as the country with the highest standard of living. There are posters that are going to say that. There are placards that are going to be pasted in and around the cities of America. And then these people are going to get the impression that, yeah, no, things are definitely working out in America. It's going to be lights, camera, action. A lot of people are going to start thinking, well, if I go to America, I'll definitely make it. And this is tied to the use of media. To date, we still have prime examples of that, which we can refer to as the promotion of America, tied to this very facet that we just identified, or that which you have just spoke about, which is known as the American dream. And one thing that I want to use as an example of why is this slide? These are songs that are lovely songs. So one example that we can talk of and go about, which is also tied to the promotion of the America and the ideas of living beautifully in America, that can be referred to as modern day influences that are still tied to the promotion of the American dream. People still think that America is a place that you go to when you want to become rich. Today, why? Because of that, you refer to as the American dream of individual possibilities. And one that we are going to look at very quickly is this part by Alicia Keys. One thing that they are showing is lights, bright places, beautiful places, scenery, everything is nice, everything is proper. And the song itself is promoting in New York. Do we not know the song? This is what they are showing, bright lights. And they are saying the streets will make you feel. The lights. Oh God. I suppose we're in New York and this can only be achieved when we are in. And in this instance, everybody then says, oh no, I want to go to New York. I want to see New York. There are bright lights. The streets will make me feel brand new. Who does not want to feel brand new? Everybody wants to feel brand new and everybody will now want to go to. And then in this instance, it's when we now get the impression that, okay, right. So if I go to America, it means I can become or I can feel brand new. And in this instance, when we speak of it in context, people are going to start thinking about them which they want to achieve, which is success. People want to become rich. At this point in time, because America itself is enriching itself by selling that which it is selling to the other countries. Are we together? Now let us look at the American dream of individual possibilities in context. When we speak of the American dreams of individual possibilities, it says many people saw the United States of America as a land of opportunity. A place where anyone, wherever they came from whatever their background, they could make a success of their lives. And one thing that you need to understand is, at this point in time where we are talking about America, we are not talking about a country that is so much successful. It is a country that is still trying to find its feet in terms of success, and the individuals as well, they are still finding their feet. Some have already succeeded. This is one. And in this instance, when you speak of the individuals, wherever they came from, it is never going to lead to that which we refer to as immigration. When you speak of immigration, it's when people are going to leave their places legally, go to America legally, and those people are going to be immigrants. This is one. Why are they coming to America? We did say that jobs are there because industries are expanding, companies are being opened, factories are being built. People are definitely going to be employed. But their employment is not going to be enough for them because they do not want to be employed. They want to become rich. And this rich is going to be tied to that which we refer to as the transformation from rags to riches. And when we speak of the transformation from rags to riches, it's where we are talking about something of this nature. It's from rags to riches. Now, this is one thing that you therefore need to tie to this particular aspect. From rags to riches is something that happens very quickly. When you speak of rags to riches, it's where we are talking about people that can transition from being poor one day and on the next day they are rich. And in this instance, it means you need to get rich quickly. This is one. It's not that people are patient, they have patience of becoming rich. They are not willing to wait 10 years to become rich. Instead, one thing that they want to see happen is they want to become rich when? This is one. So when immigrants come to the United States of America, they are not just there for fun. They want to become rich as part of that which was mainly promised to them in that which is known as the American dream of individual possibility. And it continues to say millions of immigrants poured into the country. Why do they pour into the country? The American dream. And they want to make a transition from rags to riches. And America is the place that promises them that. And it says the industries were growing and employment was not a problem as jobs were available. There were more opportunities to set up their own businesses or make a fortune. And there was greater freedom. When you speak of greater freedom, it was tied to the means of making money. You can sell in the streets, you can sell at home, you can do whatever, for as long as you are not selling things illegal or illegal stuff, which we will not maybe talk often about. They came in search of what was known as the American dream. And it continues to say both immigrants and Americans alike, with ambition, self-reliance, and hard work, were able to make this dream a reality. How did they make this dream a reality? By coming to the United States of America. And the United States of America was promising them that they can earn big dollars at home for doing by just being in, you can become rich. Immigrants are definitely pouring in. This is where you start seeing the very fact that even this place itself, it looks posh. When you speak of posh, it's when this place is chef's kiss. And in this instance, it's where it encapsulates what we refer to as the American dream. A whole lot of people are going to therefore live in this particular facet of dreaming. They are going to think that, if I can go to America, I can definitely become rich. Because one, capitalism is the ideology that is being used in the United States of America, which therefore ensures that a whole lot of people are going to find themselves transitioning from rags to riches. And in this instance, that rags to riches thing is that which is also going to be the demise, or it's going to be the greatest cause of problems that will be faced by the United States of America. The question that we have to ask ourselves is, what was the American dream? You've already explained it, right? But let us read for context. It says, why did so many people from other countries want to immigrate to America? Number one, it was rags to riches stories of immigrants. And when we speak of those rags to riches stories from immigrants, it's where people were maybe becoming rich very quickly. Right? Right. So in this instance, we are still in this part where we are talking about the American dream, that people are going to want to live and they want to transition from rags to riches. One thing that is going to happen is they are not just going to therefore become individuals that are going to help one another. Because in the society that is using capitalism, we have already established one thing in particular, that this society does not mainly deal with equality, right? And the society is a society that has classes. And when there are classes, what does that mean? It is a capitalistic society, and when it comes in terms of equality and inequality, which one do I exist? There is inequality because of the classes. Yes.
Since in other countries like Russia, the emperor is at the top class, in America, the
President. El presidente is at the top. Just like today in South Africa, we can talk about South Africa today. We have the president at the top, but we have the majority of the society in the. You can say that. Because we are purely not socialistic and we are definitely not communist. Who's fighting for communism is the people that are wearing red. Who's wearing red, we know that. When it comes to the society in general, we inherited a society that was based on capitalism. Who did we inherit it from? From the whites, when we got it in terms of freedom in 1990. Yes. Yeah, freedom. Yeah, we are very free. Very, very free, right, Mzuli? Very free we are. When it comes to that which we are dealing with at this point, it's that which we are referring to as ragged individualism. After having seen that which is tied to the inequality and the society being in classes, we did say there's inequality, right? The individuals that are therefore in this society, they are not going to be individuals that are taught to help one another. This one is based on what we refer to as ragged individualism. And when we talk of rugged individualism, it's that particular facet of believing that I do not necessarily need to help anyone when I want to get rich quickly. I need to do this by myself, and I can do this very well if I do it by myself, and I need to get rich very quickly. So in this instance, is where we talk about what is known as rugged individualism, which is one of the key components that are necessary in a society that is using capitalism, says one. And that which enforces this particular aspect of rugged individualism is what we refer to as the American dream. People want to become rich, and they are therefore going to think, okay, rugged individualism is tied to hard work and entrepreneurship. And when you have both, it means people are going to make their fortune, or that's how people make their fortune, by hard work and doing things by themselves through that which we refer to as entrepreneurship, which means business. I need to think of a business. Whether it's a good business or bad business, for as long as it's a business, and a business will make me rich. Have you ever seen when someone starts thinking with dollar eyes? Like one thing that they start thinking, if you know Roland, for example, is a soccer player, you can see this. When you are before the net, the only thing that you are thinking when you get the pass is headlines. You start seeing the headlines, Roland makes a debut, and then scores a goal, only to find that he's going to hit it above. Such is the case. When it comes to the United States of America, when people think of the American dream, they are thinking of dollars. They see dollars in their eyes. They are seeing themselves becoming rich. They are seeing themselves being these people, basically. And the problem is, when it comes to being that person, it is not going to be as easy as they think it will be. And in this instance, we did say that there is hard work and entrepreneurship that is therefore going to give people this idea of becoming rich. And it therefore says they gave optimism to Americans as well as immigrants to America. One, it suggested all people could succeed through. And it also said potential was there for successful and happy lives. And it continues to say American dream, which is something from the 1600s, that is tied to the first class. They had dreams of owning land and having prosperous businesses. And they had dreams of having that which we refer to as religious freedom. This is something that everybody wanted to attain. Whether an immigrant or an original citizen of America, they wanted to attain that which we refer to as owning land and owning prosperous businesses. And in the process of that, they also hoped that they could have what we refer to as religious freedoms. And the last thing is that there's one thing that is going to hit. A dream is therefore going to be met by a reality. And when we speak of the dream, it's where people think of themselves being rich. But the reality is that for now they were. And the reality in this instance is tied to the very fact that one, America was based on inequality, which was based on class. And in this instance, there was race and ethnic origin that was also based, or the reason of them which we refer to as the inequality. And the other thing is that there were many people that were kept poor and unsuccessful. Why? A society that is using capitalism flourishes when there's a majority of poor people. And in this instance, we did say that in a society of capitalism, when the rich get richer, when the rich get richer, when the poorer get poorer, that's one thing that maybe works in the society. So that's where now the dream will be met by a reality. And the reality is that a whole lot of people cannot therefore become or change from rags to riches in a night. But one thing that they definitely can do is to apply that which we refer to as hard work. And this hard work will not just be something that happens from day to day. That's also one thing that you need to be cognizant of. Because when you work hard, it does not mean you are going to be paid in the same manner. It does not mean the money that you are paid is equivalent to your tasks. And in this instance, it's where now we need to ask ourselves is to say, how should we understand the capitalist boom of the 1920s? Are we together? Can I please borrow a book? There's something that I need to see from the ATP. Now we need to talk of that which is known as the capitalistic boom of the 1920s. How much time do we have? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Lovely. So when it comes to that which we'll be dealing with tomorrow, it's where A will be addressing what is known as the capitalist boom of the 1920s. For today, people are going to go to the ATP and write today's date. For all the other dates and all the other parts that we have talked off and on about on your ATP, we are going to write the dates on which we did those topics. That's a task I'm giving you. My apologies. I still need to go see you today. Otherwise, thank you for coming, and then I'll see you tonight in the meeting yet again. We have another 6 to 7 where we are dealing with essay writing. Thank you.